What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we got another just a short clip for you guys. This 335D you guys have probably seen if you watch my channel in the past. We did a full emissions delete on this, some coilovers, sway bars, things like that. When I did all the work on it before, and actually right after doing the work while I still had it and was test driving it to make sure everything was okay, the driver's rear wheel speed sensor went bad on it. I replaced it, gave the car back to the customer. Customers had the car for about 6 to 8 months now. And recently the brake light came on again. I scanned the fault code. It's a fault for the right rear wheel speed sensor. So I was able to verify that it had a bad right rear wheel speed sensor, but I wanted to show you guys, I know not everybody's gonna have access to the scan tool to be able to pull fault codes out and or look at some of the stuff that I'm gonna show you, but I am also gonna show you some ways that you can check these things yourself without a scan tool. But I will show you how I got to my conclusion, and then how I verified, and then the verification process is what you guys can use to test these things yourself. So in the scan tool, we have the option to look at some data. So this is inside the ABS module right now. We can read fault codes out. Give it a second, let it connect. So these are all the fault codes we have. I'm gonna ignore the low voltage faults that we have here at the bottom, mostly because I had a battery that died on me while I was trying to crank it, and sometimes if the battery dies while you're trying to start the car, it'll set low and high voltage faults in the module. So we're going to focus on the top three here. So the top three, as you see, are right rear wheel speed sensor plausibility, right rear wheel speed sensor plausibility, just a different fault, and then the right rear wheel speed sensor direction of rotation. It doesn't know what those faults are or what the direction of rotation is, just because of the fact that it's not seeing the sensor. So in order to verify this with the scan tool, what you can do, you go to live data, and then once you get into live data, we're going to pull up wheel speed sensors, and then in the rear of the vehicle, we're going to select left rear and right rear and just show those, make our lives a little bit easier. I'm going to change this to miles per hour for myself, and then you can show these two graphs. So right now, my left rear wheel speed sensor is going to show blue and my right rear is going to show green. So when you spin the right rear wheel on this car, it spins the other side. Now mind you, I have this wheel speed sensor unplugged, but I've already verified that it's bad. So when you spin the wheel on one side, it should spin both. So you can see that when I spin the right rear wheel, my left rear wheel speed sensor is actually showing pickups and speed up to like 2.5, 3 miles an hour. Now with my right rear wheel speed sensor plugged in, it still stays at that 0 line where it's at right now. The green line here is my right rear. It still stays at 0 when I'm spinning the wheel, when the other side's showing speed, because it's spinning as well. So that's kind of my first indication, okay, this right rear wheel speed sensor is bad, but it could be a wiring issue. So in order to verify that it's not a wiring issue with the car and it's actually a bad sensor, we're going to check the sensor itself with a voltmeter. So I'm going to get the car further up in there so I can show you guys what I'm where I'm unplugging at, and then what I'm checking with the voltmeter. All right, so underneath the car, this is my right rear wheel speed sensor. It's actually in the steering knuckle up here in the back. You can see it right here. It normally, the wiring for it runs up along in front of the sway bar link here, and it runs along the bottom of this upper control arm here. It's clipped into a couple spots. The clips you just kind of pull down on and they'll pop loose, and then it runs around here with the brake pad wear sensor, and then it runs up into this fender liner here, up into the fender well, and it is plugged in up there, up top, right above my finger. So the one that's plugged in right now still is the brake pad wear sensor. The one that's over here next to it that you can kind of see up there to the right is going to be the brake pad, or the wheel speed sensor plug connection. These plug connections really just pull apart. There's some locking tabs that are on here, but you don't have to put a whole lot of tension on it. You squeeze the locking tabs here where these two things are on the side, and you pull the plug connection apart. So this is my old wheel speed sensor. I'm going to measure the resistance of this wheel speed sensor, and I'm going to show you guys that it's open, and then I'm going to show you what a new one is supposed to look like. So let me get the multimeter set up and we'll check the resistance of this. All right, so I just wanted to show you guys, this is a brand new wheel speed sensor, completely out of the car, out of the box, and it checks in at 470, you saw 473 mega ohms there. That's how much a new sensor specs out at. 473 mega ohms. So we're gonna cut over here to me testing this old sensor. And when we check the old sensor the same way we check the new sensor, you're gonna see, excuse me for this taking a little while, this is actually rather difficult to get these pins, get anything on these pins, but we're gonna see right now they make special adapters for doing this stuff, guys. I don't have them, so I'm just trying to do what I can with what I got. Okay, we're on there right now, and you can see that we're out of limits, which means that this wheel speed sensor that's on the car now is open. I wanted to show you guys that because you guys can do this stuff. That's a Craftsman multimeter that I probably paid $50 for, 60 bucks for at Sears, back when Sears was still open, so that's an old multimeter. You can pick them up pretty cheap at Sears now. I believe Lowe's and Home Depot and places like that have them. I actually have one at home that I bought from an auto parts store. It works. I've used it a couple times at home when I didn't have this one because it was at work. But I just want to show you guys that if you are able to pull fault codes out of a car like this with something like a scan tool and get yourself an actual fault code that says right rear wheel speed sensor, this is a way that you can check it without having to have a scan tool that's capable of graphing the wheel speeds and things like that. So if it's any wheel speed sensor on the car, I'm just going to check it if it has a fault for it and see if it has an open. If it has no resistance, that usually means the sensor's bad. So we're going to go ahead and get the sensor replaced, and then I'm going to show you guys what that graph chart on the scan tool looks like with both rear wheel speed sensors working properly. All right, so we got our new wheel speed sensor put in. So I'm going to turn this wheel here, and when you turn this wheel, because it's connected through the rear diff, it actually turns the other side, and you can see that when I'm turning this wheel, I'm now getting wheel speed on both sides. So you can also show that on a graph on the scan tool. You can see the two of them kind of go together, but that lets me know that my wheel speed sensor is now working properly. Like I said, checking resistance is a pretty simple way to check whether or not that wheel speed sensor is bad. So if you guys have any questions about this, please comment down below. Be sure to answer any questions you guys have. Other than that, I would really appreciate if you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you later.